this is also a new subject, and we are having a lot of studies now going on as how the climate change is going to affect the reproductive health of women, which is very important. Because of late we are seeing lots of women having abortions, premature labor, and then losing the babies. And then, again, many going in for assisted reproductive techniques and then not able to conceive. And why is it happening? So there's a lot of research going on, and then what many have found is the particles that 2.5 particles, micron particles, which can act as disruptors of what are known as endocrine disruptors. The endocrine disruptors are, I don't know how many students know about endocrine glands. They are glands, which secrete hormones, but from the action of the hormones is at a distance. That is what is known as endocrine organs, and they are very important for us because all the hormones are controlled by endocrine organs. And most of you must be knowing about thyroid, because that's very important. Thyroid is an endocrine organ which is in the neck, and the hormone which it secretes, it acts on all the cells of the body. So it also has to act on the reproductive system also. So that is a big problem. But apart from that, we all know about the plastics, the garbage piling up everywhere. And then recently you all must have seen on TVs, about the garbage being burnt in Koti and what happened, the problems which the public there faced and all those things. But most important is our vehicular pollution. We have a lot of studies, where it is said people who live near the main roads or highways, where the traffic, that is less than 200 meters from the main roads where the traffic is very heavy, they are not able to conceive, and if they conceive also they are having a lot of problems. And when they go in for assisted reproductive techniques, what happens is the implantation, that is they make the baby outside and then put it in the womb, and the womb is not taking it up. But when they compare people who are living 200 meters away from these main roads, again, they have found there is a lot of difference. So the vehicular pollution is also very important. And what I find now is, even to go to a street corner store, nobody wants to walk. Everybody wants to use a vehicle. There's a problem. The fossil fuels, And I don't think the rich countries are going to give up fossil fuels at all. Because, their income depends on that, and Russia is producing more and giving us now because they have to manage their war with Ukraine. America doesn't want to produce more oil because it wants to conserve it till the Middle East finishes their oil reserves, so that they can hold the world at ransom and sell their fuels. So these are all the problems which we have to face, and they are supposed to fund also the climate change program, the climate protection program. And actually, how many of us are really aware of this climate change, what it is going to do for our human health? Nobody seems to be bothered. Very few pockets, people are really interested. I can see the attendance also here, very few people are here. So how many are really interested in listening to the effects of climate change? And we are responsible for that. We are definitely responsible for that because the population is increasing. We need more space. More space means we occupy more forests. More forest areas getting deforested. And so naturally, all the animals which are living in the forest, they are coming into the populated areas. So we are having the menace of monkeys. Even in Hyderabad, we have a big monkey menace. People are getting mauled, dying because of that. And then you're even seeing the man-eaters like tigers and cheetahs also coming into populated areas now because we are encroaching on their land. So we have to coexist. Instead, we are existing and we are not letting them exist. That's the problem. And then of course, once the deforestation occurs, naturally the oxygen goes down, the carbon dioxide increases. So the footprint, of carbon dioxide increases, and it is going to affect our metabolism. Of late, you see so many of these diseases because India has become the capital of diabetes. Hyderabad is the capital of diabetes in India, because we see now every third pregnant patient has diabetes. We call it gestational diabetes. Every fourth patient has thyroid problem. And then added to that, of course, the career-oriented women. Now, of course, the women have to be career-oriented. And the most important thing, because of that, they are postponing their marriages and pregnancies. And what we are finding now is the most important thing, let me tell you, is the poor ovarian reserve that they have, so they are unable to conceive. See, in the olden days, when I was born, long time ago, in those days, people used to have 9 children, 10 children, even at 50 years they used to deliver without any problem, Now even at 25 years we are finding girls not able to conceive. And why does it happen? Because we all know that the eggs in the ovaries, they migrate from what is known as yolk sac to the ovaries when the child is in the womb, when the female child is in the womb of the mother. After that there is no increase in the number. So actually when a child is born, approximately there are supposed to be 2 million eggs in the ovaries, both together. And when it becomes less than 1,000, it gets exhausted to less than 1,000, women stop menstruating. That is called as menopause. So previously it used to occur, of course many women died during childbirth, that is a different aspect altogether. But then, people were very quick to conceive because they used to get married very early, produce children also very early. That also is not correct actually speaking, health point of view. But then, they didn't have any problem conceiving. Now we find 25-year-old girl coming to us saying that she is not able to conceive, and we examine them and get them tested, and they have a very poor ovarian reserve, less than 1,000. We call it premature ovarian insufficiency. And what we find is the environmental change is causing all these problems. And nowadays we also know that autism is increasing in children, and the childhood mental problems are also increasing in children. And you find more and more schizophrenia and more bipolar disorders in men and women as well. So why is it happening? See, for these things, the genes do not change. Believe me, the genes do not change. You inherit it as it is from your parents or from your families. So the eggs and the sperms carry the same genes. But what happens afterwards is known as epigenetic changes. So that is where the epigenetic changes are influenced by the environment. And in the environment, again the pollution is very, very important. So what happens when the epigenetic changes are occurring? The pollution influences the epigenetic changes. So you find lots of what we call as endocrine disruptors. That is, normally the endocrine glands have to function normally. So there are certain substances which are produced which are disrupting this function. So naturally the function goes haywire. So many problems exist, and the most important function that is affected is what is known as methylation. See, for every function to occur, for every metabolic function to occur in our body, there is one process, biochemical process known as methylation, DNA methylation. We all know DNA is in the genes, isn't it? So this DNA methylation is affected, and once the DNA methylation is affected, all sorts of diseases will start. And that starts even with our food. See, the food also, the changes because of the chemical pesticides, the pollution, the plants are also affected by pollution. That also we must remember. So what happens? the produce which we are eating now are not able to give us as many vitamins and as much of minerals as we used to get when we were children. So that was a long, long ago. Again, I am telling the girls, because I think I am the oldest person in this audience. So I can tell you, because that used to be a different atmosphere altogether. But now we find, even the fruits we eat, the vegetables we eat, they are changed. The taste is not the same. We always comment, the taste is not the same. It used to be different before, and it is not as tasty as it is now. Why does it occur? Because the plants also have methylation. They also have genes. So the same thing is occurring in humans also, in the plants also, in the animals also. So even in the litter, if you have pet animals and if you look at the litter, there also the changes are occurring. And why do we find more and more cancer? Nowadays we find many cancer occurring, and I don't know how many of you read in the recent newspaper article, where the cancers have increased because of pollution. And there was another article which commented on smoking and losing the ovarian reserve. So women also started smoking now. See, Western countries, they are giving up smoking, and here we are increasing smoking. Because we think, we can do all these things and be happy and all that, but that affects in many ways, and that is one of the causes of even cancer, smoke. Even passive smoking is also going to affect us. So these are all problems, which we must remember. So the endocrine disruptors, the methylation disruptors, it's all because of pollution. And many don't understand this. The only thing people come and ask me is, we have a cell tower near our house, does it affect us? Does it affect my reproductive capacity? But actually that is not a big deal, but the traffic is a big problem. Now we find Hyderabad, after Telangana was formed, everybody thought, we are going to have a nice traffic, the population will come down, and in fact what we find is the population has increased much more, the traffic has increased much more, and the vehicular pollution has increased much more. So all these days only Delhi was the most polluted city in the world. Now Bombay is also competing with it, and after some time Hyderabad also will compete with it. All metros for that matter. I think unless we act, and we should see, we are all old, we are all going to go away, the youngsters have to take cudgels upon this, and then they have to start acting. So you have to protest, you have to see that the pollutants are decreased. So there are laws about plastic use, isn't it, in our country, but I don't think the plastic use has stopped at all. Otherwise, the garbage, mounds of garbage will not have plastic bags. Everywhere you see the plastic bags are there. And then the cleanliness of roads. We ourselves, we do not, we think, if our surroundings are clean, that's enough. So you put your garbage into the next door neighbor's house and be happy with it because your house is clean. See, even educated people, I am saying, I live in a colony, where I find all these things, and of course it amuses me, but at the same time I get angry also. Because, there is a garbage collector who is coming and collecting. Why can't you put it? I'll give you an example. I had gone to Northeast because my brother was working, and I had gone for a conference in Guwahati, so I went to Shillong. And Shillong, I was surprised to see every Sunday, the local area, those who are living there, the residents, they are cleaning the roads. Not the municipal corporation or somebody else. And every morning, when the garbage truck comes, the fellow doesn't get down at all. The residents go and dump their garbage into the garbage truck, and they are separating the wet garbage and the dry garbage. And here we are not even doing that in metro. So I really appreciated the Northeast culture, and it is supposed to be very backward. I mean, in income generation or whatever. If you look at the economic thing, but If you look at their hygiene, if you look at their roads, they are so clean. And here we are, saying that we have so many IT companies coming in here, so many pharmas coming in here. And how about all the chemical waste is being dumped in Hussain Sagar? It stinks. Nobody wants to go there. Though they have opened up the roads even on Sundays, banned all the traffic on Hussain Sagar. But people don't want to go because of the stink. And why does it stink? And mind you, even before I was born, it was a water storage tank. People use the water to drink from Hussain Sagar. Now I don't think anybody wants to even touch that water. It's like that. And who did it? We only did it. We humans did it. So I think, there are laws for everything in our country. Unfortunately, the implementation is very poor. See, whenever you have a law, you have to have an implementation. And the most important thing after implementation is, anybody can tell me? Any program for that matter. Evaluation. You evaluate whether the program is working or not. We are not doing that at all. So unless you evaluate how a program is working, then you find the loopholes, why it is not working. And then you can plug those loopholes and then get on with the implementation. But unfortunately the laws are framed in our legislative assemblies and parliament. The implementation on the ground is not there and evaluation is zero. So naturally, there is no point in saying that whenever the world bodies, give us a thing saying that your poverty is so much, your infant deaths are so many, your neonatal deaths are very high. Mind you, one of the highest infantile deaths and neonatal deaths occur in India. And Bangladesh and Sri Lanka are much better than us. They are economically backward compared to us. We are supposed to be the fifth economy in the world, What's the use? When we are not able to reduce the infant mortality or neonatal mortality compared to Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, the maternal mortality ratio is in single digits, whereas we are still in double digits. So where are we progressing? So we should not measure our progress only by the economy, the money. Money is important, of course, but that doesn't mean, we neglect the other genres or whatever it is, So most important for anybody is health. For health, we require a clean environment, protected water, and food. These three are very important, and apart from this, education is very important. But unfortunately, again, we have, education policy now. But what is it doing? I see my patients coming in, and please forgive me, all you students and the teachers also now, because I find they have absolutely no knowledge about their bodies. They are all BTechs and MBAs, and all the colleges are mushrooming everywhere with no faculty, even our medical colleges for that matter. No faculty. And we don't find dedicated faculty. If you have 50 faculty members, maybe 10% will be really dedicated. The rest are coming only to earn money. I am being very frank. When we were students, our teachers paid more attention to those students who are backward. Now we have institutions where they have special classes for those who are very brilliant. Why do they require more importance? They can study themselves. It is the backward people who require attention, isn't it? So I think we have all lopsided views, and that is where we are lagging. And I think unless there is a real upheaval in our society, we are going to lag behind like this only. let there be any number of COP conferences, anywhere, everywhere, nothing is going to happen. Thank you very much. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. I'm sorry I didn't prepare a PPT or anything like that. I thought I'll talk extempore because I was informed a little late, and then I didn't even have time to prepare anything also. But I thought, how the environment really affects the health of a woman and the progeny, which is important. Because the future generations have to be protected. And for that, the mother has to be healthy. And if the mother has to be healthy, we have to protect the environment. Because inside the womb, the environment matters. So everywhere the environment matters. Okay, no doubts? Questions? Yeah. Anybody? If you have any questions, you can ask me. They don't have any questions. Either they understood or they just slept through because of post-lunch session.
My question is not really connected. Because with your experience, what kind of policy interventions would you like to suggest? Because the magnitude of the problem is very big. The magnitude of the problem is very big. In the morning also, Babu Rao sir expressed his anguish. So what policy interventions are required? Doable policy interventions?
No, all our policies are very good. Yeah. I'm telling you very frankly. Policies are very good because they are framed by real intellectuals. But the implementation is the problem. See, we are supposed to increase the forestation we are supposed to do. How much has it increased? Tell me honestly. It has not increased at all. Of course, there are people who are saying plant a tree, plant. You have seen so many trees being planted, but who is nurturing them? They are all getting dried, or the cattle come and eat them away. That is what is happening. That is why I said the implementation is important. So once you plant something, you have to nurture it. After all, are we not doing in our kitchen garden or in the front garden, in our houses? Of course, with flats, you don't have any gardens. But at least, I have a garden and I am a little passionate about it. And I have planted trees, which give more oxygen also to me and the environment. Because, that takes a lot of, the passion for improving the environment. You understand? And we are not like, the Americas are huge countries and the population is so less. Even there they are finding it difficult now. And how many of us really switch off the lights or fans when we are leaving your room? Even that produces pollution. We are consuming more electricity. More electricity means more water. So are we really doing that? And suppose you are in some other place, in somebody else's place, anyway you are not bothered because you are not paying the bill also, no? That's the problem. So how many of us are doing this? So I think, the motivation has to come, and for this I feel, we have to start from schooling itself, about talking about environment. The schools have to start talking about environment, and if the schools have to talk, the teachers have to learn first. So who is going to teach the teachers? We all have trainings, trainer of trainers, TOTs we call it. So who is going to teach the teachers? Because I have an experience, when we talked about sex education in schools a long time ago, before I retired. I retired quite a long time ago anyway. So those days, we had teachers and we trained them in sex education. What they should talk, how they should talk to the children in the classes, and we said it is all after 12 years of age. So after 8th class. And the teachers were not at all happy to come for the training first of all. They said, we can't talk about this. And then the parents protested. And what happened? There is no sex education in our country and we are finding so many problems. See, there are young girls here, but still I want to talk. There are couples who have not conceived for 10 years coming to us saying we want to have children, who have not even consummated their marriage because they don't have any knowledge about sex. So that is the other extreme. And we are also finding people, young children, becoming pregnant and coming, young children being abused, because I am the governing body chairperson of Prajwala, which is an anti-trafficking agency. Children as young as 3 years being raped. Where are we going? So I think, you have to do something, and our attitude has to change, and unless our attitude changes, I don't think anything is going to happen to this country. See, it's all good, you be religious, you pray, you build temples, you do everything, but ultimately, knowledge is the power. So knowledge has to be there, and knowledge has to be given to the children. Who is going to give them? The parents don't want to talk. Parents don't want to talk to their daughters about menstruation also. I tell my patients, if you don't want to talk, you bring them to me, I will talk to them. How they should be careful, menstrual hygiene, all those things, we talk. Of course, our professional body is also doing a lot of things about this. We are talking a lot about menstrual hygiene, what happens, reproductive problems, all that we are doing in schools and colleges. But it is a drop in the ocean, unless it becomes a part of the curriculum in schools, nothing is going to happen. So I think, we have to teach children, and children have to become more active, and they have to become activists also. Unless they become activists, nothing is going to happen, I think. Thank you.